The alarms echoed through the void of space as Earth's defense fleet faced the largest alien formation ever seen in orbit. Thousands of shimmering vessels surrounded the planet, their hulls glowing with strange symbols that burned brighter than stars. From orbit, Earth looked fragile, blue and silent against the black. But inside the command deck of the Terran flagship Resolute, there was no fear, only calculation. "Enemy formation complete," said Lieutenant Raffi, his voice tense. "They've formed a blockade around the entire equator. 20,000 ships at least." General Avery leaned forward, his gray eyes studying the holographic map that filled the bridge. He could see the alien fleet closing in, 1,000 species united under one banner, the Galactic Council's enforcement arm. They had come not for diplomacy but for judgment. "Transmit the message," Avery ordered. His voice was calm, low, and deliberate. The comms officer nodded, and within seconds the Resolute's signal pulsed across space. A blue projection flickered to life. A council admiral, tall and insectoid, with translucent wings and eyes that reflected light like glass. "Humans of Earth." The alien's voice vibrated through the speakers, deep and resonant. "You stand accused of violating the Galactic Accord. You have used weapons forbidden by the Council. You have spread chaos through the stars. Surrender your fleets or face annihilation." The crew held their breath. Avery didn't blink. "Council Admiral," he replied. "We only used what we needed to survive. That's something your kind will never understand." The alien hissed softly, a sound like wind through glass. "Survival is not justification for defiance." "No," Avery said, "but creativity is." At his signal, the Resolute's lights dimmed. A pulse ran through the ship's hull, silent, invisible, but powerful. Across the orbiting swarm, alien ships began to flicker, their formation breaking apart as hidden Terran beacons activated. For every alien vessel, there was now a ghost, an illusion, a projection of thousands more human ships created from interference patterns. The aliens scrambled. Their sensors screamed false readings. Some fired blindly, striking their own allies. The real human fleet, barely 200 strong, maneuvered through the chaos, weaving between sensor ghosts like shadows in a storm. From the ground, millions of humans watched the sky light up as alien beams streaked across the atmosphere. But instead of being destroyed, the Resolute surged upward, turning its invisible defense field into a massive electromagnetic pulse. Every alien ship in orbit froze, their power flickering. When the light cleared, Earth still stood. "Transmission incoming," Raffi said, voice shaky. The alien admiral reappeared, wings dimmed. "You have violated every principle of interstellar law," it said. Avery smiled faintly. "We prefer to call it improvisation." The Council fleets began to retreat. Earth had survived another test, but everyone on that bridge knew the war wasn't over. It was only moving to another kind of battlefield, the political one. Hours later, as the last alien ship faded from orbit, a message arrived directly from the Galactic Council itself. It wasn't a declaration of war. It was an invitation. Species 332. Humanity is to appear before the Galactic Council for evaluation. Your actions must be judged by the universe. Avery exhaled slowly. "Looks like we've been summoned." On the other side of the galaxy, the Council's judgment chamber was preparing. Every species had gathered, some with curiosity, others with contempt. The humans would stand before them and answer for their defiance. The Council wanted to make an example of them, but humanity had other plans. 2 weeks later, a single Terran diplomatic cruiser entered the shining space of the Council's core station, surrounded by thousands of alien ships. The chamber's size dwarfed cities. Planets hung in miniature, showing systems and alliances that ruled the stars. In the center stood the platform of judgment, and walking onto it were 5 humans. Ambassador Hale led them, his uniform simple, his expression unreadable. Behind him were 4 others, Mira, Leo, Nadia, and Reeve, each chosen not for politics but for their minds, reflexes, and courage. The High Arbiter, a being made of shifting crystal, turned toward them. "Humans," it said, its voice echoing like chimes. "You stand accused of destabilizing galactic peace through aggression and deception. How do you plead?" Hale looked up at the massive being. "Not guilty. We did what every intelligent species does when cornered. We adapted. A low murmur spread through the assembly. Dozens of alien delegates hissed, shouted, or whispered. To them, humanity's defiance was arrogance. But some, especially the younger races, watched with intrigue. The Arbiter's light pulsed. The Council will decide if your kind is fit to remain among the stars. You will face a cultural evaluation. The humans exchanged quick glances. Hale asked, "Define evaluation." "It is a test of intellect, coordination, and self-control," said the Arbiter. "A peaceful demonstration of your civilization's values." The chamber dimmed. A massive screen displayed swirling colors and strange symbols. Then the Arbiter said, "By random selection, the evaluation will be held through the galactic game of Kethra orbs." The humans blinked. "What is that?" Leo asked quietly. One of the alien delegates, a tall reptilian being, turned with a mocking grin. "It's an ancient test of skill. Reflexes, precision, unity. In your primitive tongue, it's dodgeball." A wave of laughter filled the chamber. Thousands of alien species found the word ridiculous. Hale stood still, expression calm. "You're telling me the fate of humanity will be decided by a ball game?" "Indeed," the Arbiter replied. "If you win, Earth retains its place in the Council. If you lose, your species will be restricted from interstellar travel for the next millennium." Silence fell over the human delegation. The galaxy waited for their reaction. Then Hale smiled slightly. "We accept." The alien laughter turned to murmurs. Some thought the humans had no idea what they were agreeing to. Others feared that smile. As the session ended, Hale gathered his team in the waiting chamber. "They think this is a joke," he said. "That's fine. We've spent our whole history being underestimated." Reeve leaned against the wall. "So what's the plan? We've got no idea how this game even works." Nadia, the physicist, was already scanning the alien data feeds. "The rules are simple," she said. 6 orbs, 3-dimensional arena. Last team standing wins, but the field uses variable gravity and rotating barriers. Leo rubbed his chin. "So basically, the world's deadliest version of gym class." Mira smirked. "Then let's give them a show." That night, the humans trained in a simulated chamber provided by the Council. Gravity fields shifted under their feet. The orbs shot through the air faster than sound. Each hit carried enough energy to knock a person unconscious. But humans learned fast. They fell, adapted, and adjusted. By dawn, they could anticipate the patterns of the orbs and dodge with near-perfect timing. Hale watched from above, silent but proud. Outside the training chamber, alien spectators gathered, whispering that the humans were doomed. The Trelgan team, the undefeated champions of the galaxy, would crush them easily. But as the humans left the simulator, sweat-covered and grinning, Mira turned to her captain. "You think they know what's coming?" Hale shook his head. "No, and that's what gives us a chance." Far across the stars, the news spread. The humans had accepted the challenge. Entire worlds tuned in, eager to see the Death Worlders humbled. The great game would be broadcast live across the galaxy. As the Terran cruiser departed for the arena world, the crew stood at the viewport watching the stars stretch into streams of light. Reeve whispered, "We're not fighting for survival this time, are we?" Hale shook his head slowly. "No, this time we're fighting for respect." In the distance, the alien arena planet shimmered like a star. The match would decide Earth's fate. And somewhere deep inside, every human carried the same thought. If the universe wanted a game, then they'd better be ready to play. The storm began without warning. Above the blue curve of Earth, a rip opened in space, a wound of white fire and twisting light. From it emerged a fleet of alien warships, their hulls black and jagged, spreading like shards of glass across the stars. They came without a signal, without diplomacy, without hesitation. Within minutes, the first orbital stations were gone. On Earth's surface, entire cities saw the sky split open as streaks of light rained down. Every defense satellite went live. Human ships scattered across nearby sectors scrambled to return. In the command center under Geneva, Admiral Grant stood before a wall of holographic screens. "Identify them," he ordered. The room buzzed with static and fear. "No match," said a young officer. "They're not Council fleet signatures." "Unknown origin." Grant narrowed his eyes. "Not Council. Pirates?" "No, sir. Bigger, faster, coordinated." Outside the atmosphere, the alien ships formed a pattern, an attack lattice. They weren't invading for territory. They were demonstrating something. The first wave struck the moon's surface, vaporizing a mining colony. Grant clenched his fists. "Activate the mirrors." His staff hesitated. "Sir, that system's experimental." "So is dying," Grant snapped. High above Earth, a network of orbital mirrors, massive satellites designed to redirect sunlight for solar energy, suddenly turned in unison. The mirrors focused their beams not toward Earth but toward space. White light erupted across the darkness, blinding and sharp as a blade. The alien ships reeled as beams of focused solar fire cut through their formations. Entire wings disintegrated. Grant watched as their ships scattered in confusion. "Good," he muttered. "Let them know humanity isn't prey." For 5 long minutes the battle turned in silence except for the hum of orbital systems and the glow of destruction. Then the enemy vanished, fading into the same white rip they came from. When the last light faded, Earth was safe again. But the message came through every frequency and every language. "This is your warning. The Council's games mean nothing. The real war begins soon." 2 days later, the Terran diplomatic cruiser reached the arena world. Humanity's challenge with the Council was still scheduled, and despite the attack, they couldn't refuse. The Council wanted to see whether humanity could represent itself as civilized. Hale and his team were already en route to the surface. The arena planet shimmered beneath twin suns. From orbit it looked peaceful, a disk of metallic rings and bright fields. But the surface was a maze of shifting energy grids, floating platforms, and gravity fields strong enough to crush bone. As the human ship entered the atmosphere, Council drones surrounded it, scanning for weapons. Hale raised his hands in calm surrender. "We're diplomats," he said. "Not soldiers today." The drones allowed them to pass. The shuttle landed before a colossal stadium that stretched into the horizon. Thousands of alien spectators filled the stands, scaled, feathered, luminous, or mechanical. Every corner of the galaxy had gathered to witness the so-called cultural evaluation. From the Council balcony, the High Arbiter spoke. "Today, Species 332, humanity, will face the Trelgan champions in the game of Cuthra orbs. The outcome will determine Earth's place among us." The crowd roared. The Trelgans entered first, 6 towering creatures with slick carapaces and glowing red eyes. Their movements were fluid, too fast to track. Each one carried the grace of a predator that had never been defeated. Then came the humans. 5 figures walked out under the blinding light: Reeve, Mira, Jonas, Nadia, and Leo. The crowd laughed when they saw them. Compared to the alien titans, the humans looked fragile, slow, soft. But Hale watched from the observation deck above, calm as stone. "Remember," he told them through the comm, "we don't win by being stronger. We win by being smarter." The referee drone descended from the ceiling, its voice booming across the arena. "Begin." The orbs came to life, 6 glowing spheres hovering in the air. They pulsed once, then shot forward like bolts of lightning. The Trelgans moved first, their limbs blurring. 3 orbs struck at once, and 2 barely missed Mira's shoulder. The humans dove for cover as the magnetic floor shifted beneath them. Jonas rolled behind a barrier. "They're not even aiming, they're predicting where we'll move." Nadia's eyes darted across the field. "The gravity shifts every 5 seconds. We can use it." On cue, the floor pulsed, reversing polarity. Mira launched herself upward, using the shift to leap higher than a human should be able to. She snatched one of the orbs midair and threw it with perfect timing. It ricocheted off 2 barriers, bounced through a field, and slammed into a Trelgan's shoulder. The alien stumbled, its armor sparking. The crowd gasped. Reeve grinned. "Nice shot." The Trelgans retaliated, faster this time. One orb grazed Leo's side, leaving a burning mark. He fell but rolled out of the way before another struck. Nadia's voice came through the comm. "They're coordinating their throws through sonar frequencies. I can jam them." "Do it," Reeve ordered. Nadia pulled a small transmitter from her belt, something she'd hidden from the Council's inspection. She twisted the dial, sending out a pulse across the arena. The alien team froze for half a second, disoriented by the interference. Reeve seized the chance. He grabbed an orb, aimed for the ground, and bounced it off the shifting panels. It ricocheted into the air, hit a barrier, and curved toward the nearest Trelgan. The alien caught it easily, but that was exactly what Reeve wanted. The orb exploded with compressed plasma, knocking the creature backward. The crowd went wild. On the Council balcony, several delegates stood in shock. One muttered, They're using the arena itself as a weapon. The High Arbiter watched in silence. Adaptation, it murmured. Interesting. The round continued. The humans began reading patterns, learning the timing, adjusting faster than any known species. The Trelgans grew frustrated. Their perfect coordination was crumbling under human unpredictability. At one point, 3 orbs came at Reeve simultaneously. Instead of dodging, he slid forward into the attack. 2 missed by inches. The third he caught with both hands, rolling with the momentum to lessen the impact. He stood eyes narrow and threw it with impossible accuracy. The orb struck the lead Trelgan square in the chest. The alien fell, armor flickering, silence swept the arena. Then the crowd erupted. For the first time in the galaxy's history, someone had scored a direct hit on a Trelgan champion. But the humans were not unscathed. Leo limped, Mira's arm was bleeding, and Jonas's visor was cracked. They regrouped in the safe zone, breathing heavily. Reeve's voice was steady. They're faster, but we're unpredictable. Keep moving. Never throw where they are. Throw where they think we won't. They nodded, and when the signal for the next round blared, they charged out again. From the observation deck, Hale watched with quiet pride. Around him, the council delegates argued in disbelief. Some accused the humans of cheating. Others whispered about potential alliances. The Trelgans adjusted their tactics. The floor split open, new gravity wells forming. Orbs now carried electrical charges that arced through the air. The environment had turned lethal. Still, the humans adapted. Jonas used a shattered barrier as a shield. Mira slid between gravity wells, using momentum to curve her throws. Nadia calculated trajectories in her head faster than any alien computer. With each minute, humanity proved why they were feared and respected across the stars. When the round ended, both teams stood bruised and silent. The scoreboard glowed. Draw. The aliens hissed in frustration. The humans only smiled. As the teams left the field, the High Arbiter's voice filled the arena. The second match will decide the victor. Humanity has proven difficult. Back in the preparation chamber, Hale met the team. You've done more than I hoped, he said. The council's seeing what we really are now. Reeve leaned back against the wall. What's that? Hale's eyes were cold but proud. A species that learns too fast for comfort. Outside, the twin suns dipped below the horizon. The next match would determine everything. Across the galaxy, trillions of beings tuned in, waiting to see whether the Deathworlders from Earth could survive one more game. And high above the arena, hidden beyond the council's sensors, a shadowed fleet watched in silence. The same mysterious ships that had attacked Earth days earlier drifted at the edge of the system, their leader observing through a crackling hologram. So, the alien voice murmured, they play games while we prepare for war. The image of the humans flickered on his screen, bleeding, laughing, refusing to yield. The alien leaned back uneasy. They are not what we expected. The sky above Earth tore open again. This time it wasn't a single fleet. It was an armada. Hundreds of alien ships, larger than any built by human hands, drifted into orbit in perfect formation. Each vessel shone with the symbol of the Galactic Council. Their purpose was clear: observation, not invasion. Yet the sight of so many warships around Earth made every human watching from the ground feel the weight of the galaxy pressing down on them. In the command center beneath New London, Commander Ellis stood surrounded by holographic projections of the fleet. They're broadcasting something, said the communications officer. Every channel, every frequency. Play it, Ellis ordered. A deep voice filled the room. It wasn't human. It wasn't even alive. It was synthetic, created by 100 alien tongues. Humans of Earth. The Council has deployed an observation fleet to ensure compliance with interstellar law. You will not interfere with the final evaluation. Any attempt to resist will be seen as defiance. Ellis stared at the projection, jaw tight. So they're surrounding us in case we lose their game. His second in command, a younger officer named Lena, frowned. You think they expect us to fail? Ellis smirked faintly. They expect us to surprise them. They just don't know how much yet. Outside the atmosphere, the alien fleet repositioned into a ring, blocking any human ship from leaving orbit. But down below, deep inside the Terran Space Agency, engineers worked on something the Council didn't know about. A stealth relay transmitting data from the arena world directly to Earth in real time. The Council thought the humans were isolated. They were wrong. Every scientist and strategist on Earth was watching. studying, calculating, light years away. On the arena planet, the second round of the great game was about to begin. The humans walked back into the stadium as the twin suns blazed overhead. The air shimmered with energy, the metallic floor humming underfoot. Above them, thousands of alien spectators shouted in excitement. The Trelgans stood across the field, silent and focused. Their chitin armor glowed faintly in the artificial light. The referee drone hovered between the teams. Round 2. Enhanced environment. Increased gravity. Variable magnetic fields begin. Instantly, the floor shifted. The humans staggered as gravity doubled, pulling them down. Mira gasped for breath, forcing herself to move. Leo's knees almost buckled. But Reeve gritted his teeth. Adjust your footing. Use your legs, not your arms. The first orb shot across the arena, leaving a trail of light. It hit a barrier and split into 3 smaller orbs, each heading toward a different target. Jonas barely dodged one, rolling to the side. Nadia caught another on the edge of a magnetic surge, using it to fling herself upward. From the observation deck, Ambassador Hale watched with a cold, focused expression. The council representatives murmured around him. Primitive species, one of them sneered. They'll tire in minutes, but they didn't tire. They adapted. Nadia began calling out numbers, timing the shifts of the magnetic fields. Every 6 seconds, she shouted. That's the pattern. Reeve understood instantly. Then we move on the 5th. When the field pulsed again, the humans launched forward just before the shift. The timing was perfect. The Trelgans miscalculated, their orbs curving off target. Mira caught one mid-flight, turned with the momentum and hurled it back. It struck the ground, bounced through a gravity pocket, and hit a Trelgan on the side of the head. The alien reeled backward, stunned. The crowd erupted in shock. Another orb came straight for Jonas, glowing blue-hot. Instead of dodging, he laughed and swung his arm through it. The heat scorched his sleeve, but the impact redirected the orb toward another alien. It slammed into the Trelgan's chest. Reeve shouted, "That's 2 down!" But the Trelgans weren't finished. Their captain roared, the sound vibrating through the entire arena. The gravity spiked again, pinning the humans to the ground. The aliens moved as if it didn't affect them, sprinting across the floor. One of them hurled 2 orbs at once, both glowing red with plasma energy. Leo dove forward, tackling Mira out of the way. The orbs exploded where they'd been standing, leaving molten scorch marks. The crowd gasped at the sight of smoke rising from the metallic floor. Nadia coughed, struggling to her knees. We can't keep dodging forever. Reeve looked around, scanning the arena. Then we stopped dodging. He spotted the magnetic emitters above them, 3 drones hovering high, maintaining the field's polarity. Jonas, can you hit those? Jonas grinned, grabbing a fallen orb. Watch me. He aimed not for the Trelgans, but for the ceiling. The orb shot upward, curving through the air like a comet. It struck one emitter dead center, sending sparks flying. The gravity field faltered. The humans surged upward as if released from a weight. Mira used the momentum to leap, twisting midair and threw another orb with both hands. It spun so fast it screamed through the air, hitting a Trelgan in the chest and sending it flying into a barrier. The crowd went silent again. Humanity had turned their weakness into strength. From the council balcony, the High Arbiter's crystalline form shimmered. They are learning too quickly, it said to its aides. This is not expected. The aides exchanged nervous glances. Shall we intervene? Not yet, the Arbiter replied. Let them reveal their limit. Down on the field, the final minutes of the round ticked away. The Trelgan captain lunged forward, his movements blurring. He threw 2 orbs at once. The humans split apart, each dodging differently. Reeve ducked low and rolled under the first orb. Mira jumped sideways, her foot catching a piece of debris that spun her midair. Nadia caught the second orb by its edge, redirecting it just enough to change its course. It struck a barrier, bounced once, and hit the Trelgan captain's back. He stumbled but didn't fall. His mandibles clicked in fury. End this, he snarled in his native tongue. The referee drone hovered lower. Time remaining 20 seconds, the aliens charged. The humans regrouped. 5 orbs floated between them, glowing like stars. For a moment, the entire arena held its breath. Then everything moved at once. The humans ducked, threw, and slid across the field in perfect sync. The Trelgans matched them, moving like a single organism, the air filled with glowing trails of light. Each throw was faster than the last, each dodge closer to disaster. 10 seconds left. Jonas was hit. He dropped to one knee, but he was laughing, bleeding, refusing to fall. Nadia used his fall as cover, hurling her last orb into the gravity field. It split into 3 fragments, each accelerating toward a different alien. 2 were deflected. 1 hit its mark. 5 seconds, Reeve grabbed the last orb. The Trelgan captain saw it and prepared to strike. Reeve threw high, not at the alien, but at the ceiling. The orb hit the broken emitter Jonas had damaged earlier. The gravity inverted. For 1 perfect second, everyone in the arena lifted off the ground. The Trelgans panicked, flailing midair. The humans used to chaos didn't. Mira used her body's momentum to twist, grabbing the floating orb and launching it downward. It hit the captain square in the chest. When gravity returned, the Trelgans crashed to the floor. The whistle sounded, silence filled the arena. Then, the referee drone's voice echoed through the stadium. Round complete. Human team. Victory. The stands erupted. Even species that had mocked Earth now stood and cheered. The humans stood panting, bruised and smiling. From the council balcony, Hale met the High Arbiter's glowing eyes. "Still think we don't belong here?" he asked. The Arbiter said nothing, but its light flickered uncertainly. Back on Earth, Commander Ellis watched the broadcast from the war room. Every city on the planet was tuned in. Cheers erupted from streets and colonies. Humanity had done it again. They'd won the second round. But even as people celebrated, Ellis noticed something strange on his screen. The alien observation fleet was shifting formation. Their engines glowed, but not toward Earth. They were pointing toward the edge of the solar system. Lena turned toward him, alarmed. "They're not leaving, sir. They're preparing for something." Ellis stared at the display, unease crawling up his spine. "No," he said slowly. "They're not preparing for us, see? They're preparing for someone else." In the far reaches of space beyond the Council's influence, the mysterious fleet that had attacked Earth before began to move again. And this time, they were coming straight for the Galactic Council itself. The alien fleet arrived without warning. Dozens of colossal ships appeared above Earth's orbit, blocking out the sunlight as their shadows passed over continents. Their hulls shimmered with blue light, each vessel carrying weapons larger than human cities. Within minutes, every global defense network went silent, jamming signals, scrambling satellites, and cutting off contact between the continents. It wasn't an invasion yet. It was a test. At the United Earth Defense Command, deep under the Arctic ice, alarms echoed through steel corridors. Officers rushed to their stations, eyes wide as the holographic map filled with enemy signatures. General Lorne stood in the center of the command floor, hands behind his back, calm despite the chaos. "They're waiting for us to panic," he said quietly. "Let's not give them what they want." A younger officer turned to him. "Sir, they've blocked all communications. We can't reach the orbital stations or the colonies." "Then we improvise," Lorne replied. "Bring up the manual targeting grid. I want visual tracking on every alien ship. Use the deep radar if you have to. Old tools still work when the new ones fail." Across the globe, hidden defense satellites powered up one by one. They weren't connected to the main network. They were relics of an older time, built when humanity feared itself more than aliens. The fleet didn't detect them. Within minutes, humanity had eyes again. The alien ships held their positions, silent and unmoving. Then a signal came through the static. It wasn't human. The voice was smooth, hollow, and cold. "Humans of Earth," it said. "You are summoned by the Galactic Council to answer for your continued defiance. Your fleets have grown beyond what is permitted. You have built weapons that destabilize peace. Submit your leaders for judgment." Lorne didn't answer immediately. He watched the main display as the enemy ships shifted slightly, forming a perfect ring around Earth. Every weapon they carried was aimed inward. "So," he murmured, "they want us to surrender before the trial even begins." The officer beside him asked, "What's the plan, sir?" Lorne turned, eyes sharp. "We don't bow. We demonstrate." He gave a single command. "Activate Mirage Protocol." High above Earth, near the dark side of the moon, a hidden human ship came online. It was small, barely the size of a frigate, but covered with panels that bent light and distorted space. The aliens couldn't see it, even when it moved directly between them. The Mirage began transmitting false signals, projecting phantom fleets across multiple orbits. In seconds, the alien ships detected hundreds of fake human warships appearing from the void. The aliens reacted instantly, moving to intercept. The false readings scattered like dust, making them waste energy and formation coherence. Meanwhile, real human defense systems on the ground locked onto their temporary weaknesses. Now, Lorne ordered. From Earth's upper atmosphere, hundreds of kinetic spears launched upward. No energy weapons, no heat trails, just rods of tungsten fired at orbital velocity. The aliens' shields flared as the first wave hit. Not enough to destroy, but enough to make them realize something important. Humans had learned to fight in silence. In the observation hall aboard the largest alien cruiser, Commander Rethan watched the planet below. They've adapted faster than predicted, he said. Their weaponry lacks elegance, but the impact patterns are strategic, one of his lieutenants hissed. Primitive creatures. Shall we cleanse them before the Council arrives? Rethan hesitated. No. If we destroy them, the Council will call it unauthorized aggression. We hold position. He looked down at Earth again, his multiple eyes narrowing. But they will learn fear. Back on the surface, General Lorne knew it was only a matter of time before the aliens retaliated. Prepare the decoy cities, he said. Let them target empty grounds. We'll make every strike count. The alien fleet fired moments later. Energy beams rained down from the sky, scorching oceans and glassing deserts. But their hits were far from major population centers. Every target had already been evacuated. Humanity had known this was coming for weeks and had moved millions into underground shelters disguised as geological faults. When the bombardment ended, the aliens waited for screams or surrender. None came. Instead, Earth's entire night side lit up with thousands of tiny flares. Drones, hundreds of thousands of them, launched from hidden silos rising through the atmosphere. They weren't armed. They were mirrors. Each one reflected and refracted the light of the alien beams, scattering it across the sky until the stars themselves seemed to multiply. The alien targeting systems went blind, overwhelmed by the visual noise. General Lorne smiled grimly. Let's see how they like fighting something they can't track. For the next hour, the alien fleet struggled to realign their sensors. In that chaos, human ships hidden in lunar craters moved quietly into position. They didn't fire a single shot. They didn't need to. Their mission was simple: transmit everything directly to the Galactic Council's central relay. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched as the Council's broadcast showed live footage of the battle. They saw the alien armada attacking Earth without formal declaration, saw humanity's restraint and intelligence in defending themselves without initiating mass destruction. The political effect was immediate. Outrage rippled across the stars. In the Council's Grand Chamber, the High Arbiter demanded an explanation. This fleet acted without our authorization. Earth has demonstrated discipline under provocation, but not everyone agreed. The Council's militant factions insisted that humanity's growing strength was a threat. The chamber erupted into chaos, accusations flying between species. Meanwhile, back in the Arctic Command Center, Lorne stood watching the feed. They're divided, he said softly. That's the first step. His officer looked uncertain. Sir, even if the Council stops the fleet, they'll never trust us again. Lorne gave a faint smile. They don't have to trust us. They just have to fear what happens when they push us too far. Hours later, the alien fleet received a recall order from the Council itself. Their ships turned one by one, retreating from Earth's orbit. The people of Earth cheered, though they didn't yet know the full cost of the defense. The oceans disturbed, the atmosphere charged, entire regions scorched but still standing. Humanity had survived another test, but Lorne wasn't celebrating. He walked alone into the observation bay, staring out at the stars through reinforced glass. The Mirage ship drifted silently back toward Earth, its camouflage flickering as it entered orbit. He whispered to himself, "They came to intimidate us. Instead, they showed the galaxy how dangerous we can be." Far beyond the solar system, in the dark edges of known space, something else was moving. The same unknown fleet that had haunted the Council's borders now accelerated toward them. But this time they weren't headed for Earth. They were heading for the very worlds that had threatened it. The Council, in panic, began mobilizing every species for defense. But their fleets were scattered, their alliances fragile. For the first time in galactic history, the Council sent a private message to Earth. "Humans," it read, "we may require your assistance." General Lorne stood at the console, reading the transmission. His officers watched silently. He looked up at the stars again and said, "After everything they've done, now they want our help." There was a long pause before he added, "Prepare the fleet. If the galaxy burns, humanity won't be its victim. We'll be its survivors." The holographic map brightened as Earth ships began to awaken in hidden docks. Massive vessels still under construction, forged from the ruins of 100 wars. Engines roared to life under oceans, in mountains, and in orbit. The next war wasn't coming to Earth. This time humanity was going to meet it halfway. The stars above Earth dimmed as a colossal alien fleet emerged from hyperspace, surrounding the planet like a cage of burning suns. Thousands of ships, sleek, silver, and vast enough to block entire constellations, formed a living wall in orbit. Each one carried enough firepower to vaporize continents. Their arrival wasn't silent. The sky itself screamed as gravitational waves rippled through the atmosphere, causing tides to surge and power grids to collapse. In the command tower of the Earth Defense Nexus, Commander Elena Ward stood before a massive window overlooking the stormy Atlantic. Lightning flashed across the horizon, illuminating the silhouettes of rising defense silos and orbit-bound missiles. "They've come in full force," her officer said in a trembling voice. "We're outnumbered 100 to 1. Elena didn't blink. Numbers don't matter if they don't understand what they're fighting. Outside, a voice echoed across every communication channel in every language. It came from the alien fleet's lead vessel, a voice both metallic and divine. "Humans," it declared, "your deceit and defiance end today. The Galactic Council has decreed your elimination. Prepare to be unmade." Across Earth, every radar and telescope tracked the fleet. Cities dimmed their lights as global defense systems came online. Beneath the oceans, colossal human-built submarines, each carrying orbital cannons, began to rise toward the surface. Hidden stations on the moon powered up, sending pulses of encrypted energy toward the enemy's formation. The alien ships began charging their weapons. Massive orbs of plasma gathered at the tips of their cannons, glowing brighter than the sun. "They're about to fire!" shouted the tactical officer. Elena remained still. "Wait," she said, "Commander, wait." The alien fleet unleashed their barrage. Thousands of energy beams shot toward Earth. The entire planet seemed to vanish in light. The oceans boiled, the sky tore apart, and then suddenly the beams curved upward, missing their targets entirely. The aliens froze. The shots had been redirected by invisible distortion fields surrounding the planet. "What just happened?" asked the alien warlord aboard the flagship. Their planet deflected the attack. Back in Earth's nexus, Elena smiled faintly. "Operation Mirage Net," she said. 12 years of preparation and now it works. The Mirage Net was a planetary defense grid woven through the magnetosphere, powered by orbital satellites and the planet's own electromagnetic field. It could bend light, distort energy, and redirect any incoming attack through atmospheric refraction. Humanity had turned its own planet into a shield, the alien commander snarled. "Their defenses are impossible. Increase power. Destroy them completely." The second wave came, more powerful, more concentrated. The beams struck again, but this time the Mirage Net responded with a new trick. The energy didn't just curve away. It split into 1,000 smaller beams and fired back. Dozens of alien ships exploded instantly. Cheers erupted across Earth's control centers. But Elena didn't join them.
"Don't celebrate yet," she said.
"They're not stupid. They'll adapt." And they did. The alien fleet began shifting their formation, spreading wide, scanning for the distortion sources. Within minutes, they found the outer satellites powering the Mirage Net and began firing precision strikes. On the moon, operators watched helplessly as one of their satellite hubs was destroyed. The shield flickered. "Commander," said Harris, her second in command, "we can't hold the field if they take out the upper nodes. We need another plan." Elena looked at the tactical display, a swarm of red enemy markers surrounding Earth. "Then we stop thinking defense," she said. "It's time we hit back." She opened a secured channel. "All deep core teams initiate Hammer Protocol." Deep beneath the Earth's crust, in chambers older than any living human, enormous engines began to roar. They weren't built to destroy, they were built to move. The crust itself began to shift. Massive electromagnetic relays buried in the tectonic plates, synchronized and fired simultaneously, sending a pulse through the planet. In orbit, the alien fleet suddenly found their sensors going blind. Magnetic interference from the planet was distorting everything. Navigation failed. Their ships collided in confusion as the gravity readings fluctuated wildly. From behind the moon, a hidden human strike fleet emerged, small, dark, and fast. "This is Phantom Leader," came the voice of Admiral Core. "Target their command ships. Engage with rail slugs and kinetic rounds only. No signals, no heat signatures." The Phantoms streaked forward, invisible to alien eyes, their rounds traveling faster than light's reflection. Each hit tore through alien hulls silently, punching holes through their formation. The alien warlord screamed, "Counterattack! Find their ships!" But they couldn't. Every scan returned echoes and false readings. The humans had hidden in the chaos of their own magnetic storm. Inside the command tower, Elena watched the holographic display as dozens of alien vessels fell one after another. "They thought we were slow," she said. "They thought we were fragile. But we learn faster than they calculate." The aliens began retreating toward the far side of the planet to regroup. "Now," said Elena, "release the pulse." At the edge of the solar system, hidden in the orbit of Jupiter, a long dormant station received her signal. It powered up and released a massive gravitational pulse, so strong it twisted space-time itself. The wave raced across the void, reaching Earth's orbit in seconds. When it hit, every alien ship within range was dragged violently off course. Their drives shut down, their formations scattered. Some were pulled into orbit, others flung into deep space. "Pulse impact confirmed," reported Harris. "Their fleet is collapsing." But Elena didn't celebrate. Her eyes narrowed at one point on the map, the alien flagship. It hadn't moved. It was still firing, unaffected. "Of course," she muttered. "Their flagship has a gravity anchor. They planned for this." The alien warlord's voice filled every channel again. "You've delayed the inevitable, humans. But you cannot stop us. We are the Council's sword." Elena looked up at the dark sky. "Then you'll learn what happens when the sword meets the storm." She keyed in the final code. "Lighthouse, activate." From orbit, the lighthouse array, the same one that once blinded fleets, reactivated. But this time it wasn't for defense. It targeted the alien flagship directly. The air above the Atlantic shimmered, then split open with a burst of light. The alien flagship was suddenly surrounded by thousands of beams, each locking onto its position. The alien commander tried to counter, but the light bent faster than he could track. His sensors overloaded, and before he could give another order, his ship began to dissolve. Not explode, but unravel into light itself. Silence followed. The fleet broke formation. Without their leader, they retreated into hyperspace, leaving only wreckage and faint blue trails across the stars. In the Nexus, the room was quiet. Then slowly applause began. Officers cried, shouted, embraced. Earth had survived, but Elena stood still, watching the last alien ship vanish. "They'll be back," she said softly. "Maybe not in years, maybe not in centuries, but they'll remember this day." Harris looked at her. "What will they remember, Commander?" She turned from the window, her face calm but fierce. "That humans don't surrender. That we turn light into weapons, storms into shields, and every defeat into evolution." As dawn broke over the Atlantic, the clouds parted, revealing the sky clear for the first time in days. The world below still bore scars. Burned fields, cracked coasts, darkened cities, but it was alive. Humanity had faced extinction and turned it into strategy. Far away, on the Council's homeworld, the surviving alien commanders stood in silence as reports arrived. Billions across the galaxy had seen the footage. The humans had defied the greatest fleet ever assembled and won. One alien counselor whispered, "Perhaps the galaxy should fear them less." The High Arbiter replied coldly, "No, now the galaxy will fear them forever." Back on Earth, Elena Ward stood on the rooftop of the Nexus, the wind pulling at her uniform as she looked toward the stars. "They'll come again," she said, almost to herself. "And when they do," she smiled, "we'll be waiting." Above her, hundreds of small lights flickered into view, human ships returning to orbit, silent guardians of a world that refused to kneel. And as the sun rose over a battered Earth, one truth became clear across the galaxy. Humanity was no longer just surviving. It was becoming the legend that even the stars would whisper about for millennia.